Hey guys, Moneyman300 back for some more videos here, continuing on with our tunes for D-Class, and decided to make one more, a different one for Prague Short. We already had one for Alps Club, which is usually pretty similar, but in D-Class, it really isn't. Look at my car. I hate lapping this track. I don't mind driving it in multiplayer, although I actually don't even like it in multiplayer. I take that back. I have my microphone position wrong, so let me, sorry if that made a little noise. Let me get that right in there where it's supposed to be. So we got the Miata. This is a different Miata build than I think we did one for Alps Club. This one is weighted different, has different tires, and is geared differently. So I thought I would do this one because it takes a little bit different type of Miata to do well on this track. Now, the time I got here was only 402nd. But the car's got a lot more in it. I just couldn't quite get the first turn down, and you know what it's like to go through the city. You got to get that miracle lap in there. I just don't feel like I put about 10 laps into it, and I had like 4 that were down in the low 107s. This one was like 107.8. The other ones I just dirtied it in one spot or another and just like barely get a wheel off in a spot, and it just drives me crazy to lap this track. So let me show you the lap here. Let's go back. What do we do here? Restart. Let's do the restart here, and let's change our camera here a little bit. So yeah, you can see I already set it a little sideways there. Maybe a little slow coming through there. Yeah, and already, and I think I had like the 100th place guy. Already I'm like 2 seconds behind him coming out of that. It was crazy. Now, I made up some time in some other areas here. I made up some time in here pretty well on him. And then made up some time going through the city. You can see I don't have a mirror on the right side. He said 10 laps in, this car takes a beating on this track if you've ever lapped it. So come through here. You're going to top out gears in here, but that's okay. I let off just a touch on the turn in and then right back on the gas, and just skid a little bit, but not bad. You could probably do it without letting up at all, but I was trying to be consistent. You know, I could run that clean pretty consistently. I really didn't care quite enough speed through there either, but overall it wasn't a terrible lap, and I could run that lap consistently. And in multiplayer, that's going to win you a lot of races if you could run that lap consistently. So there's the race there. Let's go over, let's get out of here, and let's hop over and take a look at our build and tune. Get out of here. So yeah, I want to get on with this. We're real close to just wrapping up this D-Class and NLC. I know there's quite a few tracks out there, but I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the Top Gear tracks. I'll probably just show a couple and what you can do on them, but I'm not going to get crazy and drive every one of those tracks. So let's see here. Let's go back. And let's get over here to tune and upgrade. So first off, engine conversion. And we'll come in here, and I'll show the numbers here right away. So we ended up at 4.7 speed, 5.2 handling, 6.7 acceleration, 5.8 launch, and 5.5 braking. 166 horse. I was all over. I rebuilt this thing like 4 different ways with different tires, different weights, different, anywhere from 185 horsepower to like 150. Kind of ended up in the middle, ended up in the lower end of the weight. And the car's really balanced. What I like about it is it's pretty easy to drive. I had some versions of it that were faster, but just so hard to drive and couldn't do it consistently, and might have been able to get that miracle, top 50 lap. Not miracle, but the one where you get through the city all perfectly. But this one allowed me to get through very consistently and could still run down in the 106s, which would get you to that top 100. So very much capable of that. I just had to spend a little bit more time kind of getting a couple of my turn-in points a little bit cleaner. So anyway, Centrifugal Supercharger, and that's the only thing we're going to have in here. No drivetrain swap or engine swap. We'll come over here, and I believe we just have the front arrow and the rear Forza arrow. I don't think I have any bumpers here, do I? No side skirts, and probably no hood. It's not a bad idea to sometimes check in here, see if you can get, oh look, I get free weight. So 4 pounds and a cooler hood. Let's do it. Put that on there. All right, so put that upgraded hood on. I don't always, obviously, as you guys know, I don't always come back and check this stuff as much as I should. Ended up with stock tires, so I tried it here. We already have a version that's here, and I actually tried that too. Ended up just going with stock tires. It drives. I don't know that you need any more than that. Now, to counteract that though, I did go full 235s on the front and the and then 265s on the rear. You can go, I guess if you want to match it, you could. I don't even have a 235 option, does it? But anyway, yep. That really helps control the car. You want to get as much tire on the surface in these fast turns and coming off through that city to you saw it just bump sideways anyway. I believe I got some pretty light wheels on here. Some of the lightest ones you can get. The Buddy Club P1 Racing QFs. That's in the first grouping of wheels. And then we're going to have 18-inch on the front, and I believe the 18s on the rear. Yep, so 18-inch front and rear wheels. Head over to our drivetrain. Not going to have a clutch in there. I did do the sport transmission. I tried it with the stock. Evidently, this was an old build I had, so it must have had a race in here at some point as well. But you really do need the adjustable gear, so you want to run that sport transmission. I have that drive line. Can't go up any. Oh, that goes all the way up to 402. So always check that little free weight there. And as always, the race differential, so we can have our two-way adjustable differential. And on to here, we're gonna have. I believe I ended up with the brakes. Yeah. So I did build a version of this that went without the brakes. And if you needed a PI for something in there, you just couldn't get it back, you could do it without the brakes. There really isn't a whole lot of braking in there. So you could. Technically, you could get away without those brakes and get yourself an extra PI somewhere. So I do have the race springs and dampers. I got race roll bars, front and rear. We got no roll cage, and I believe race weight. Yep, I've tried as you can see, I tried kind of every combination of weight. You can get a fair amount back. I can get 9 more back and run this, but that 160 pounds, along with the stock tires, just made it just a little too skittish for me, and I couldn't quite tune that out of there. So the full weight just helped everything handle better and accelerate better. Just, I don't know, it just felt cleaner and felt easier to drive. So I really like that. All right, on over to our engine parts, and we're gonna have where I always start. We have the full race centrifugal supercharger on there, and we don't have a lot here. Maybe exhaust, not even any exhaust. It's one of these front ones. I only have like 2 parts on here. Yep. And street intake. I believe that's all we have on here. Let's check a couple of these just to make sure, since I did do a lot of different variations of this build. I wouldn't have put those on there. Pretty sure not on this kind of build. Wouldn't have went any more displacement. Yeah, so make sure I didn't like put a flywheel in there or something crazy. I rarely use these, but you could, right? You could get what you get out of this one, especially in D class, can be not too bad. Depends on how much weight. So you're gonna give yourself quite a bit of weight. Not much advantage in this one. Sometimes you can get the weight's okay if it doesn't increase the PI much, and you get some good horsepower out of it. Some cars that works well on, others doesn't. So the only 2 parts we got in here: race centrifugal supercharger and the air filter. So. Oh, you know, I showed the numbers, but I don't think, did I show the horsepower and stuff? Oh yeah, I did. I showed this. Okay. All right, let's hop over and take a look at the tune. Okay. All right. Tire pressure is 28 in the front, 27.5 in the rear. Gearing, I ended up at 4.7. You can play around with this a little bit. I like how it shows the line. There you go. Let's fix that. So ended up there. You could play around with this, maybe do some different things. You could go like clear on the other spectrum and go down to like 3.2 and only run this thing with like 4 gears. That may work. That may be okay. I do top out in a couple of spots, so if you didn't like that, you could probably drop this down to about 4.5. It would keep that from topping out there. Problem is that last turn is tricky, and you're gonna be stuck in between 3rd and 4th. It's almost between there now. If you drop that any more lower rev rate, you might have to come out of that last turn in 3rd gear and then shift to 4th, so be aware of that. I did go 3.3 and 3.5 in the rear, so a little bit different than what I normally do. That really is for those high-speed turns, and you're throwing in this one. You're kind of throwing the car into that, especially that first turn. You're diving in and then throwing it straight back left, and it just a little more negative camber in the rear just help keep the rear just stable enough, because the first turn is actually relatively tricky with this car, and then come through the city, coming off of the second part of that city, and down to your last turn, just enough to keep the tires planted. And it wasn't my best run. I had better runs, added that stayed more stable, but that works. Pretty low on the roll bars. 1144 in the front, 426 in the rear, and again, that's just to keep the rear end controlled. Yeah, I mean, increasing the front, and let's look at the rear. So there you go. So you can read those. So decreasing it reduces your oversteer. So I'm just trying to eliminate oversteering on this. I don't need super turning ability, so I'm okay. And it didn't understeer, and I used the front end pretty low to kind of balance that out. So ended at 1144 and 4.26. Springs 448, about in the middle in the front. Went a little softer in the rear. Again, same concept. I did get that ride height up quite a bit, and that's going over those curbs in the city and in the first turn. Just it helps us stabilize it. So we ended up at 10.096, 1714 on our rebound and our bump. And no aero, no downforce at all. It's not needed in D class. 52%, 135. Again, if you elect to get a PI back and go with the regular brakes, this won't be adjustable, but these are the settings that worked well for me. And then 40 and 8 on our differential. So that'll give you a good track for Prague short. That'll also work on Alps Club, and most should work on, I'm going to try it, but should work on Road Atlanta short as well. Now some of the other tracks, Prague full, and it'll work on the reverse one too. Prague full and the bigger Alps tracks, you're probably going to top out a little bit too much on that. You would have to change your gearing to match that, but you can change the gearing and it'll work on those tracks too. So, all right. Well, I'll give you another car in D class. We'll get ready to move on to, I think, Road America ones are next. So that'll be fun. So, all right. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.